which was the last time I wore a Speedo while going hunting.
That's are we recording?
Shit.
All right. Well, 3.
You skipped the intro again.
No.
UGP. Hello, Internet. I am co-host 1.
And I am co-host A.
Today, it marks the informal second annual UGP episode. But that's not the correct term at all, so actually you just consider it episode 2.
Episode 2. Metro.
Last Light.
Last Light.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, we could talk about the first one, but...
We could just cover the series as a whole.
Yeah, well, okay. Metro series. First episode.
Metro games.
Yes, okay. What are the Metro games, my friend?
The Metro games are, you play as a character named Artyom, and Artyom is currently in Russia 20 years, I believe, right? 20 years after a nuclear apocalypse. Does it ever say what country nuked Russia?
No, I think it was just kind of like a global, screw the world.
We can assume it started with North Korea.
Okay, so let's assume it either started between the US of A, the USSR, or North Korea.
I'm assuming it was like a triple threat, and then the rest of the world just got in on it.
Okay. Anyways.
So you play as Artyom, who, he's 20?
Yeah, he's 23 because he was 3 when it first happened.
And then it says 20 years later in the game.
Yeah.
All right. Spoiler alert. No.
Okay. This is the first cutscene, I promise you.
All right. So yeah, and Artyom, he's got his stuff together. He's kind of like one of those. He's a silent type. I don't think he says one word in the first game.
Yes, it was.
Oh, that was the greatest.
It was the best one word you could ever say.
Oh, yeah. Like Vin Diesel's one-liners cannot compare to Artyom's one-liner.
Or Sean Connery's one-liners. Let's broaden our audience a little bit.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
There you go. And if you don't know who Sean Connery is,
you're an uncultured swine.
Yes, very nice term. All right. As 23-year-old Artyom, who's essentially spent his entire life living in Russian metro stations and a Russian metro station.
Which one is that called?
I think.
It's gonna hit us later.
Yeah, it'll hit us later, and then and then we'll tell you fine people about it, or not fine people. Because this is the internet, so let's just go with medium people.
You medium people.
You medium people who are our very supporting fans. So obviously, by the time you're 23, you kind of want to do some stuff besides just exhibition. Besides just stay in your hometown.
Exhibition is
exhibition. Yes. Luckily, the opportunity presents itself to you when a famous hunter known as Hunter. No, a famous ranger. A famous ranger known as Hunter swings by and is like, "Yo, Artyom, what's up, my brosif?" And so you're talking with your buddy Artyom. And then he tells you about something called the Dark Ones.
Yes, and the Dark Ones is there are Cole and I were talking earlier, and he called them aliens, but they're not technically from outer space, but I guess they're
alien to us, but I would consider them like a new species.
Yeah, perhaps they had maybe always been there, but only emerged after nuclear terror, or perhaps nuclear radiation mutated a species. They're humanoid.
Yeah, so maybe mutant humans.
Yeah, perhaps people that were hit in the face by the bomb.
Well, or 30 miles from the bomb center.
No.
Well, I mean, no. If you're hit in the face with a nuke, you're a shadow.
Maybe this is new nukes. Maybe there was one nuke. It was the light mass bomb or something, just for reference. And it hit them, and they just instantly got turned into Dark Ones. And then all the other bombs turned them into shadows.
Okay. Origins aside, no one knows much about them. You can't really communicate with them, and anyone who's ever seen one has died. Pretty much.
Who's that one guy?
Except Hunter.
Hunter and a friend. Who's crazy friend?
Khan,
yes.
Khan.
Ooh, looks like everyone else.
We're probably going to have to edit large portions of that.
Yeah.
Okay. Once this happens, you leave your home station, which sends you on a quest to find out what the Dark Ones, what they are, what they want, and it leads you all over the Russian metro system and the Russian beautiful post-apocalypse countryside.
Oh yes, it's brought me back walking on the surface to Fallout 3 because it looks a lot like Fallout 3,
except without that really annoying green tint.
I like the green tint.
Like, the green tint was cool for about 30 minutes, and then
it was cool until you fought a green enemy with a green tint. Anyways,
cut. So the first one, really good, cult classic. It's like Repo, the Genetic Opera, which it's considered a cult classic, but it's.
Maybe we should tell them what a cult classic means if they're uncultured.
A cult classic, for those of you who aren't informed of what it is, it's something that not very many people like, but the people that do like it love it.
Like, they literally have a cult following, which is where the term cult classic comes from. Like, Demon Souls, the predecessor to Dark Souls, that was a lot like that. Like, there was, obviously, I didn't hear about it till a while ago, and then by then
the more popular stuff. But anyways, I remember being one of the first people to find Metro, and I was so into that game that I told anyone I ever could about it, and then I met some other people who played the game before I did, and it was just like everyone who played this game before the second one came out, like, there were not too many people who did it, but everyone who did play it loved to talk about that game. It was just like
like when Cole introduced it to me, we started playing, like, for a good, like, month, all of our conversations were like, oh my god, Metro! Like, oh, do you remember when blah happened? Like, oh, what about blah, you know?
Yeah, and what do you think about ending A, where this happened, or ending B, which may or may not be an ending?
Oh, almost as good as the hypothetical ending C that might have happened.
Yes, and ending D, man. Dude, talk about that alien ass.
Secret option E, all of the above.
Yeah, it was very big, amongst the cult.
Actually, I don't think it had the first game did not have a single commercial, and was not really marketed at all.
No.
They kind of just printed off some copies, and then were like, alright, and then whenever someone bought a copy, they printed off more copies. No one really heard about it, and really the way you found out about it was going at GameStop or other gaming area, store, and then just being like, oh, what's this on the shelf? Yeah,
and then they'll be like, play it. So it didn't do that. It didn't do bad, but it didn't do good.
It did good enough for them to make a sequel.
It did good enough for them to make a sequel, and they got some investors in it, which allowed them to blow the advertising budget and the super cool lighting and cloth effects. Like, that one cloth effect where, like, they took it off. There's one moment in the game that has the best cloth textures in a game that I've ever seen.
Like, hands, you can actually see them grabbing cloth. Like, normally in games, when they move cloth around, or, like, say someone throws a blanket off, it'll show their hands almost touching the cloth.
Yeah, and then
you can tell it's hovering.
It just kind of, like, hovers and goes with the hands.
And then it's either, like, a solid sheet that they move, or just not enough.
Yeah.
Like, it's not correct. This game, the one cloth effect, like, half the budget must have went to this dang cloth effect. It was amazing.
So the second one was a lot better, and it got a lot more attention. And it didn't do the thing that most sequels did, which is butchering the series.
That is true.
There are about, I would say, about half the games that have sequels have good sequels. A smaller portion have better sequels, and then half of the games that have sequels just butcher it.
The true testament is going to be when the new one comes out, because it is pretty much a known fact that Triple's 75% chance will butcher the entire series.
That is also true. Chief examples would be Gears of War 3, Mass Effect 3, according to some people. Mass
Effect 3 ending butchered the series, but other than that, it was a great game. Let's see. Modern Warfare 3. That's right. That should start some arguments.
Let's just say Modern Warfare in general. That'll start even more arguments. How many COD fans do you think we're going to get trolling just because of that?
I don't know. I will say, the one good COD game was Modern Warfare 2.
Cut. So, back to,
back to the game
we were supposed to talk about. The cool thing about the second Metro is it really starts to explore the whole Dark Ones.
Yeah,
thing.
the main game, the first one, pretty much once you figure out what they are and what they're capable of, the second half of the first one is just kill the Dark Ones, blow them up, right?
Yeah.
Is that safe to say?
I would. There are things you can do to not do some things. Okay, there are multiple endings to the first game. However, the second one goes with the most common ending of the first game, which spoiler.
Yeah.
Spoiler. Maybe we should have said that first, so we can cut all this and then just say spoiler. The ending of the first game, you kill a bunch of Dark Ones.
Yeah. That's fair. Okay.
So
So then in part 2, there's there may or may not be a surviving Dark One.
Well, that's in the first 20 minutes, so that's not really a spoiler.
Okay, so spoiler, there's a baby Dark One, and it's just chilling there.
Yeah, it's just like walking around all of the ashes of its city and its family, and just being like, depressed. I wonder where they are.
And Artyom's like, I blew him up, bitch! No,
yeah.
Anyway, so then Khan, who we mentioned earlier, is oddly connected to the supernatural.
Yeah, I don't know how that happens to him or whatever, but he just was and they kind of get into it in the first in the second game DLC where you play as Khan for a little bit, and maybe the trauma of losing his entire station was why he is so connected to the supernatural aspect of the Metro system. But
I was thinking it was just maybe he was a hippie beforehand. But yeah, it really does. And in part 1, you see him, and he's it's like you're chilling in there. May or may not be things that you have to avoid by sticking next to Khan, because they don't F with Khan because he's connected to supernatural.
Or he just knows the patterns. They'll mess with him, but he knows the patterns. So as long as you.
Well, he's been chilling with the supernatural people.
Yeah, okay, anyways. The first game, I would say that was a bit more. The first game, I would say, focused a bit more on the whole scary aspect.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, because it wasn't more. It was more of because the second one could technically be considered maybe an RPG type thing.
No, I wouldn't say RPG.
If you consider the game Rage an RPG, you can consider that.
I do not consider the game Rage an RPG.
Okay.
Well, in Rage you do get quests in Rage, but in the it's more of a linear story, and
that's how Metro is. But you can have linear story RPGs.
But in Rage there were side quests that you could choose, and there weren't really any in Metro.
Well, I don't think the definition of RPG, a role-playing game. You play as the role of Artyom, and you can pick out a loadout and buy things.
That's any shooter
game.
at this
that's
point.
Not any game, but it's
cut.
So first game was more of a horror game. Jump scares were pretty common, especially during cutscenes. And if you don't know what a jump scare is, it's when you're walking and then something pops out and a scary sound effect or noise will happen, and you will crap yourself.
Yes, that happens. So, do you remember the moment where you're opening the gate and you're being sucked in by that vision vortex, and then a hand just comes out of nowhere and grabs you?
Yeah, so
that was
just like a.
Oh my god! Yeah, it's here you are. You're trying to help your buddy. You're helping your buddy, and you're not gonna make it. And then an alien hand just grabs your wrist and yanks you through the gate, saving your life.
And it's abrupt too. It's just oh my god! Oh no!
Yeah. So there's all sorts of great moments like that, and anytime you're on the surface in the first one, you hate it just because there's no music.
No.
And there's I think the sound I remember the most from the first one is the swing. Do you remember the swing? You can just hear it off in the distance. It's there's no music, there's just wind and occasionally a growl or something, but you just hear off in the distance constantly.
Oh my god.
And it's just it never stops. It's so
especially if you're playing it the way I play video games that are supposed to be scary, which is at 3 in the morning with about 4 monsters in me, and I'm wired, and I got school in the morning. That game is terrifying.
Yeah. Same thing with Alan Wake. We'll do another thing on that maybe. But so the first one was definitely more of a horror, and while the second one still had that sort of horror elements in it, I think that it went a bit more for survival instead of horror.
Yeah, it was more of like a like a
realistic survival game.
Realistic as they can speculate for it. Like, it is post-apocalyptic, but yes, it's pretty realistic.
Yeah,
except for the whole medical system.
Well, that's kind of iffy in every game that isn't a sci-fi game. But
that's true.
But the amount of realism in the second one is just insane. Like, if you're on the surface, you've got to change your gas mask out because, of course, it's still irradiated and you can't breathe. You also have to wipe your gas mask if blood, mud, rain gets on it.
The most annoying thing ever is in part 2 when you're in this level where there is like what's called the mud level, because we don't want to spoil too much.
Yeah.
And you step and then mud goes on your screen. And you're like, oh, wipe the screen, and there's a guy there, and you're like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah, so all sorts of stuff like that. And there are a couple really good jump scares in the second one.
Yeah, like
so if you like a really good story-based game with good controls for the second one, less good controls for the first one, but if you like cool weapons, good storyline, unique environments, I would say.
They're pretty much it's pretty much the most unique post-apocalyptic game ever.
Yeah. I would say that. Well, one of the best.
Well, I meant unique. Like, there's not really another game where it's like you...
Okay, yes, yeah. Okay. So, if you like that, totally pick it up. It is amazing.
I recommend it to everyone.
Yes.
Like, if you like video games...
If you like shooters, pick it up.
If you like stealth games, because you can play that game...
Yeah, you can play that game like a stealth person and just...
In fact, there's an achievement in the second one, not killing... In the first one? No, not in the first one.
Not
That'd
the
be
first
too
one.
hard. For not killing a single human unless forced to the entire game.
Yes.
And that is grueling.
Okay. Maybe it'll just be co-host one riding solo for that podcast, but I, at some point, am going to make a podcast called Cole's Hardest Achievements, which is essentially where I'm going to talk about. This is only probably applicable for the Xbox audience, and less so the PS.
All right, well then,
audience.
freaking co-host A over here is going to come back at you with trophy hardness to accumulate, because everyone cares about trophy, because it's so handy when you get one and it appears and you push the home button and it just goes to the home screen. Isn't that effective?
Yes. Yeah.
Love my
aside from getting into a console war here, I would highly recommend picking up this game. The second one, on a degree of like easy to hard to complete, I would give it like a medium, because there are a couple boss fights that are very annoying.
Yeah, from a scale of 1 to 10, it's 1 to 5. It's about a B. In difficulty.
Okay. On a scale of 1 to 10 rating, as for how good the game is,
I give it a 10.
I give it like a 9.5, 10.
9.5, 10?
Yeah, 9.5/10. Like, one of the two.
Like 9.5 repeating.
You know what? I'm going to give it a 9.5. I'm going to give it a 9.5.
What is the 0.5? What 0.5 do you feel was the error?
The 0.5 of the error is that it's not Halo or Mass Effect. And that is the only reason it is not get a 10. But anyways,
see, okay.
Disregarding that, highly recommend it. Pick it up. And now we're going to hit a discussion where we're going to briefly talk about the weapons, and then more so talk about the Dark Ones and life sort of in general.
Life in the Metro.
Yeah, which this is going to hit some spoilers. So if you don't want to have the game spoiled, I would advise. Yeah.
Yeah, you could just subscribe and like and comment and then leave right now.
Yes.
All right. So how about the weapons? You want to start off with
the bastard. You have to start out with the bastard.
You do have to start with
the most iconic weapon.
It is a bastard. It is a horrible weapon.
Yeah.
They literally named it the bastard because it's a bastard. Like, you're shooting this thing about halfway through the mag. If you're emptying it full auto, it overheats. It takes like 10 seconds. Like, horrible. And then
the bullets will jam in the gun, which is one of the very few games that I see that happens in.
Bullet jam, like mid firing, like. Oh, Jesus.
And then you see that there's like the shell halfway caught in the exit chamber, and you gotta stop and be like.
Oh, and that is the worst thing ever when you like turn a corner and there's 3 guys and they're running at you and you're like, oh
Yeah.
God, this.
Do you remember that one time where I turned a corner and shot the shotgun 5 times at a rat? Because I was just like...
I think the best thing ever was when you had the revolver and you just bought it and you forgot that you had to reload it, and then you turned the corner and there was a thing that went...
Yeah. This game is so realistic that when you buy a new weapon, you have to reload it first before you can use it. The guns don't come with bullets.
No, and it normally it's like, well, yeah, you're gonna reload your gun. You don't think that. You think it now because we're talking about it, and you think of it. But no, when you start off and they give you a gun in every game, it has a full mag.
Except Halo 1.
But, okay. But you can reload it.
Yes. So the point is like
yeah.
The game is incredibly realistic, and the coolest part about the weaponry in that game is that 90% of it is homemade.
That's true. Yeah. Like the bastard, they literally took like some pipes.
PVC pipes.
No, it's made of metal.
Yeah.
PVC's plastic.
PVC is metal. You can get metal PVC. Metal pipes. Just like all random stuff. There's literally a bicycle gun made of bicycle parts. It's like a 6-chamber shotgun that looks amazing and is very, very annoying.
It's more looks than anything. Like it's got the gear that the chain goes on is like the back of it, and then you put the shells in between the slot. It's pretty cool.
It's really cool. All the weapons in that game are amazing. Like
All right, hold on. Let's knock them out one by one. All right, so bastard.
Yeah.
Horrid gun. Next up, what do we want to talk about?
Low life, the pistol.
Which one?
The mag pistol, the low life.
All right, low life is a magazine. It looks like kind of like a
Chinese pistol
from Fallout 3.
Yeah. Box pistol, otherwise known as.
Pistol.
But
yeah, it looks kind of like a Luger.
Yeah, sort of. Really good gun if you upgrade it. You can give it like a stock and a laser sight and a silencer and extended mag and full auto. It's crazy.
Yeah, you can make it like a magazine fed like 44 Magnum sniper.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And all of it is homemade.
Completely, yeah.
Next you have the revolver.
It's a revolver? Is that one homemade?
No, revolvers are just revolvers.
Yeah, it's like, basically if you find a revolver, you have a revolver, or you can get a homemade lowlife.
Then there's the A-shot.
I call it the ass shot.
Yes.
The A-shot it's really good until you get anything better than it. And it looks like it's basically like a pistol that shoots one shotgun shell and that's it.
And that's what you load. Like, you snap the pistol open and put you put a shotgun shell into the barrel and then shoot it.
There's not even like a cylinder. Like, the whole barrel falls to the left.
Yeah.
You just put and then the hammer comes back and hits it.
It is the craziously overpowered thing. You can just, like, walk up to someone and be like, boosh!
Yeah, except for the doublet.
Yeah.
Other than that, it is one of the most powerful close quarter weapons.
Yeah. Then the doublet is
doublet. Yeah.
Double barrel shotgun, homemade, of course. You got lead pipes, whatever.
Lead pipes are pretty much in all of them. This one, it's like you just bend the 2 barrels forward, and then like a normal double barrel, except for it looks really, really rigged,
and it sounds amazing.
Yeah, and the cool thing is you can in part 1 you push right trigger to shoot the right one, left trigger, or you can just do them both.
Yeah.
And then, same thing in part 2, actually, right?
No, in the second one, pulling the left trigger just shoots them both at one time.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And then you can get an upgrade for it, which turns it into a quad shot.
Yeah, it's literally 2 more barrels, and they just go on top of the other 2, and then 2 more hammers that stack. So it's like, when you reload it, you literally take, like, 2 shells per hand, just like, shoom, shoom.
Yeah.
If you turn the corner, you can empty all 4 in one shot, and I've wasted so much ammo with the jump scares we were talking about. Like, turn the corner and a thing jumps at you, and you waste 4 shotgun shells on it, because in that game, ammo is not necessarily the most plentiful thing.
No, unless you're playing it on easy, you're gonna be scrounging a lot.
Unless you're a bitch and play it on easy.
Yeah,
because no one plays that game on easy.
No, it's like it's disgraceful.
It is. If you play it on easy, then you are. No.
Next up would be the AK-47.
No, wait, we haven't finished shotguns.
Oh, we haven't finished. Oh yeah, there's
the weird ass reloading shotgun. Because in part 1, it's like the shotgun.
What is it? The Kabul, the Shambler.
The Shambler. Yeah, in part 1, it's painfully situational on how many bullets this thing can hold. It's like if you reload it normally, it holds 6. No, 5. And then if you shoot one time and you reload it, for some reason you can load it and it has 6.
If you have a round in the barrel when you reload it, you can only have a total of 5 shots. If you have no rounds, it goes to 6.
Yeah, it's kind of like topping off a mag. Really,
it's odd, but it's a favorite. It's a classic. You can get a bayonet on it and all this kind of stuff.
Bayonet, and then just basically normal weapon upgrades.
And
sights.
a night vision scope, which for some reason you like.
I only put it on some guns. You don't put it on like the AK, but you do put it on the Shambler.
You put it on the AK and you don't put it on the Shambler.
No.
What are you doing?
You put the night sight on the shotgun.
Cut. So that's the shotgun. Then there's the military grade shotgun, which is just essentially
that's totally made up. That's totally rigged.
Is it
the belt-fed shotgun?
No, not the belt-fed one. I'm talking about the one with the clip.
The Sega. The Sega. That's actually a real gun. Yeah. That's completely.
That's one of the 5 guns that are actually real.
Yeah, it's literally. If you don't know what a Sega is, then
so we've got
Google it.
The 5 real guns are Sega, revolver.
The weird half. It's called the AK 2013.
Yeah.
But it's really. If you took an AUG bar and a P90 and smacked them together, you'd get this amazing weapon.
So that's 3. Next is AK-47, and then last would be that anti-material sniper rifle.
The one in the DLC one, not the normal one.
It's not in the regular game.
All right, so a belt-fed shotgun.
Yeah.
If you like a 50 caliber is a belt-fed 50 caliber LMG.
Yeah.
Like a 50 cal? Well, this one is the same thing with a 12 gauge shotgun. Takes a bag magazine. Holy cow, amazing. Like you could, full auto just holds like, 30 rounds?
Yeah. No, I think it's like 50.
Jesus.
Anyway, favorite weapon? Railgun.
Railgun?
Yeah, the magnet gun. The rivet gun.
The Volt Driver.
Volt Driver.
Volt Driver.
Okay, that was several names. No, it was
DLC. First game only.
Yeah. Essentially, they take a bunch of magnets and copper wires and stuff a ton of batteries into the thing. Jumper cables.
Jumper cables, what you use to charge it, and then you pull the trigger, and it releases some
metal marbles.
It shoots ball bearings. It just ball bearings, people.
Yeah.
And it isn't.
Don't forget the stun thing. You can the end of the rifle has just like a loop of copper wire on it that's electrified, so you can just be like zap, and that was a gesture which
portrayed Cole moving his hands forward with an imaginary gun and stabbing an imaginary enemy with the copper wire just before zapping it. So that gun's really crazy. The only problem with it is alright, so you want to get into pneumatic weapons since we're right there?
Pneumatic weapons. So those are definitely the most rigged ones in the game.
Even the Volt Driver, it's DLC for the first game only, so you probably won't encounter it unless you want to get to DLC really badly for the first game, which is recommended.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, you have to charge it. And so with all pneumatic weapons, there's a pneumatic, I guess you could call it a sniper.
Yeah.
And it's a pump. It's an air compressing sniper. You pump up the air.
Take a bike pump, attach it to a gun, and that's the pneumatic weapon.
Then, rig up a lever and shoots ball bearings like the Volt Driver, which can get very irritating if you have
if you don't pump it up.
It's you pump it up all the way. It's pretty much an insta-kill, and then the next shot is an insta-kill, sometimes depending on the enemy, and then the rest of it just makes the enemy mad.
Yeah, it's it sucks when you forget that you have low pressure and you run into an area and you shoot a guy and it just goes dink.
Oh, and of course, it wears off over time, in real life, a pellet gun or something. So you'll pump it up and then you'll be right before you go in a room, and then you'll be wait, let me check my phone, and then you go back and alright, let's breach in the room. You go in the room and there's a guy and he looks at you and you're cling. And it just hits his chest and falls on the floor.
Sometimes I've seen it dribble out of the barrel. I've seen that happen. That's happened to me once or twice.
And then, so what's up next? Helsing.
Yeah, Helsing.
The Helsing is the greatest gun ever, in my opinion. I'm a tactical mother with that gun.
Okay, it's an air pump like the previous one, and it shoots arrows.
Mm-hmm. I preferred harpoons, just for comedic effect. But yeah, it's basically it's like a 6-cylinder.
Yeah.
And to reload, you just replace the cylinders. It's pretty cool looking.
You just take off the entire cylinder of arrows and put on a new one.
Yeah, it's 6 barrels that just rotate like a minigun. Yeah. And that thing is pretty cool, and you can get an upgrade for it, which is the most effective upgrade in the game, arguably, that doesn't let the pump run out.
Yeah.
Like, you can pump it up all the way.
Like the pre-war pressurizer or something like that.
Anyway. I think that's what it's called.
So, a lot of weapons, a lot of customization.
We haven't even hit ARs yet, but...
we're gonna skip machine guns, just take machine guns, and insert generic machine guns.
Insert the AK and friends.
Yeah,
and then snipers, second game only, toward the end you get them, so they're not really that important.
But they are amazing. Now, on to the Dark Ones.
Whoa. Alright, so the Dark Ones are, they're pretty weird, and no one knows exactly what makes them tick.
Imagine a race taller than the average man.
Taller than Cole.
With black skin. And not black skin, but like dark black, like midnight black skin.
Like a tarpy, like a picture of tarp. A tarp.
A black tarp in a human form.
A black trash bag.
With very long fingers and no mouths.
Painfully long fingers.
And really large eyes.
And their chest, their torso looks slightly longer than it should be to add to scary effect.
And they have hooves.
Hooves, not feet.
Hooves. And the thing about the Dark Ones that everyone can't, they have this sort of aura around them that just makes people go batshit crazy.
Yeah, pretty much. Except for Artyom, which is why he's the main character.
And they explain that in the second one, and they explain it oh so well. It was, I feel safe in talking about that. As we said, we already warned that this was spoilers section, and this is the actual spoiler.
So basically, we said when he was 3, the shit went down, right?
5.
He said 3.
He said 5.
You said 3. You said he was 23 earlier.
Yeah. He's 23, but okay.
I thought we said he was... Okay, 5 years old, small child.
When he's a small child, Artyom and his friends decide to go to the surface because they're like, ah!
This is post-apocalypse, by the way.
Yeah, this is post-apocalypse. They're like, oh, the world's gone blown up. The parents won't let us go outside. I remember trees and stuff. Let's go outside. So,
we could do a reenactment. Cole, you want to go outside?
Yes, my friend, I want to go outside.
You can be Artyom.
Okay.
You don't talk. No. So then they go
those
outside.
silent protagonists.
Oh, those silent, so basically they go outside and they're like, oh, let's play some soccer. You want to play some, like, weird...
Hide and seek.
Oh, that's a good idea in a post-apocalyptic wasteland. Mm-hmm. You want to execute that good idea? Okay, I'm going to go this way.
I'm going to go this way. Getting mauled by a giant thing.
And then Artyom's all like, oh my god, there's something. And then a Dark One just out of nowhere, just boom.
That's one of their abilities. The thing that makes the Dark One so foreign to us is that they have sort of, quote-unquote, magical abilities, which I believe is merely just having a super smart brain.
I think it's merely just the way we perceive them.
Okay. Also, good point. So anyway, Dark One appears and just like points at the monsters, and they all just like fly backwards.
Oh,
and then
like one is in midair, and he's like slow-mo music, and then bam.
Yeah, it was super. It was one of the coolest effects I've seen.
Especially for
Yeah, and so then you're just kind of like the 5-year-old kid, and you're like staring at this ridiculously tall thing, and then it just touches you, and what they were trying to do, this gets into a spoiler.
There's so many.
The Dark Ones recognized that we were the dominant species for a while.
Yeah, we still technically.
Like
humankind right now is the dominant species, and they recognize that we are humans and we
are intelligent. So once they realized early on that they could not communicate with us because A, they didn't have mouths, and B, every time they got near a group of humans, they just went crazy and killed each other.
Yeah, which is totally, like, I mean, I can kind of see how that would happen. Like, imagine you're chilling in this post-apocalyptic wasteland underground, or even above ground, and then you look to your left, and there's this scary humanoid thing looking at you. You're not just going to be like, what's up, my name's Evan. No, you're going to like some shit.
Yeah, and the other thing is that they have like this aura around them, which essentially makes you hallucinate. And that could be like a mixture of radiation and their like telekinetic field around their body or whatever.
Or it could just be the people semi-affected by radiation and their own scaredness that they just...
And the fact that they smoked weed a couple of minutes earlier.
That is in the game quite a bit, actually.
In the second game, the only time you talk is after you smoke a joint.
Oh yeah, he's like, that's some good shit.
Yeah.
It's really good.
In the first game, the only thing you say is your guy goes like, "Fuck!" Someone's about to fall on him.
Yeah, he's like, fuck.
Yeah, and then in the second one, he smokes a joint and then just goes, "Oh yeah."
Yeah. Really good.
But so the dark ones kind of have the effect of a joint where it just makes you go weird.
Okay, we can call it that. We
Yeah.
can go with that.
So, anyways, so they recognized that something needed to be done about that. You know, like they needed to talk with us eventually.
Well, yeah, they felt the urge to communicate with.
Yes,
the
which is
other
amazing. You know, there's not too many games that present weird things as good. So they found this kid. And because it's a little kid, he probably doesn't have like all the societal input that adults have. So he didn't freak out immediately. And because he's a little kid, and it's scientifically proven that little kids have more brain activity than when they're adults.
I was gonna say less fear.
Yeah, that's also true. But so it just kind of made a mental connection with Artyom, and ever since then, Artyom could always understand the Dark Ones.
But never talk.
Well, he does talk, just in his journal. Like
he talk. Yeah, you hear his voice, which in the first game,
it was pretty bad.
Oh my god, no, there was no way that guy was 20. He was like,
it's the same voice actor in the second one.
He younged. He became younger.
But anyways, so you're the only one who can talk with them, and everyone else thinks they're evil. And essentially
Except Khan.
Except Khan, because he knows everything and is awesome.
He really does.
Yeah. So the end of the first one, you essentially find this pre-war base and are like, this is heavy spoilers, by the way. You find this pre-war base and are like, oh, there's missiles here. Oh, the Dark Ones are on the surface. Hey, let's blow them up with a bunch of missiles. And
everyone, the whole game was halfway through. It was like, wait, missiles are here, Dark Ones are here, button is here. You push the button, then the missiles here hit the Dark Ones there, and then you win, and that was the whole,
Yeah, and so the end of the first game was the ending that 90% of people got the first time. I'll go with 99% of people got this ending the first time.
I don't think anyone got a different ending their first time.
Okay.
Like every person got the first ending.
So the first ending is a Dark One tries to stop you because it's like, we only wanted to talk with you, but now you're trying to destroy us, so now we have to kill you, which is understandable.
It does make sense.
Yeah, because like the entire game, they're just sending you like these visions of, we wish to talk. We don't want to kill you. We even saved you a couple times. So let's talk this out, buddy. No, okay, that's a missile. That's a missile. You're pointing them at. That's a laser pointer. Okay. You're trying to kill us now. This isn't cool. This isn't cool, Broham, Artyom.
Okay. What was the quote? If it's hostile, you kill it.
Then
you go in then you go in this crazy. I thought it was. Yeah, it was Hunter, not Bourbon.
Yeah, it's a crazy dream thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like What's another thing we can equate to that? Like,
you know the maze in Inception that they built? It's essentially that in the video game.
Oh my god, there's so fun to run around in circles.
Yes. So they put you through this maze in an attempt to not have you press the button in time.
Yeah, it's like you're about to hit the button, and they're like, oh, maze! Ha!
And you essentially get the option to shoot and kill the Dark One.
Which is like he said, everyone does that because
everyone does that because it's like walking with you and like everything behind it is like turning orange and it just totally looks like it's going to kill you.
Yeah, and then your buddy Hunter that we talked about, he's like gives you a pistol and is like, if it's hostile, you kill it.
Yeah.
And then you're like, hostile.
Yeah. And the only way you can get a different ending is by being very nice to all the homeless people and just making nice things in general. And so. 5 minutes.
All right, we got five.
So, and then once that happens, you get an ending where you don't kill the Dark One and you don't destroy their home.
Yeah, and then there's the medium neutral ending, where it's like you try to stop it, like you hit
Yeah.
the button, and then you're like, and then for somehow your guy's like, oh, that was a bad idea. That was bad. Stop. Oh god, no. Oh.
Yeah, it's like you have to do everything right, otherwise it just doesn't count. And this, I would say, the saddest thing, the medium ending is the worst, because the dark one that you seriously wounded in the dream state is with you on the roof, and it's just kind of staring at you, and it was like pointing at the button. It was like trying to tell you, like, stop it, stop it. And then in the medium ending, you just try and fail, and it's just kind of like lays down and just like stares at you, and you're like, I'm so sorry.
And then you kind of it basically, yes. There's a normal ending, the ending where you feel like a bad person, and the good ending.
Yeah.
Which technically you could consider the normal ending to be the bad guy ending.
Yeah.
This is game 1. So game 2, the endings are a little more not satisfying at all.
Well,
main ending in part 1 is better than main ending in part 2.
Yes, the main ending in part 2, heavy spoiler. Main ending in part 2 is that a bunch of Nazis and communist people.
We haven't even talked about that.
We're not going to talk about that.
Okay.
A bunch of people are trying to take a pre-war base with a ton of deadly stuff in it that they should not have. And so essentially you blow up the base and everyone in it to stop humanity from killing itself.
Basically, yeah. Then
then it cuts to your sort of wife talking to your kid.
It wasn't even a wife. He's a bastard child.
Yeah, the chick you banged once talking to your kid.
Who has the worst insults. Imagine it. She called a rabbit.
Okay. Anyways, so so that's the first ending, and then the second ending is amazing. It's like, have you gotten that one yet?
No, because I think you kept telling me what to do, and then I did it, and then I still didn't get it.
Okay.
So I started crying.
Do you mind if I tell you?
Dude, I don't care, man.
Okay.
I think we've talked about it already.
Yeah. So the second ending is amazing. So in the second game you find this little dark one that's still alive, and like the whole point of the game is to try and capture it, and then once you do capture it, you're just like, oh, I could never kill you. You're so cute.
And it talks to you.
Yeah, it talks to you, and it sounds like a little Russian kid, and it's just
he's like, oh hey, look, and then he puts on clothes.
He puts on clothes. He's like, I'm like you now,
and you're like, oh my god, he's totally like me. Anyways.
Yeah. So regardless of either ending, you do save the dark ones. There were some other ones that were in hiding, I guess. Or they were in hibernation that were hidden within a base.
Yeah, I guess that's about it. And then there's a door, and then he's like, oh, we need to open this door, and then I'll get the door, and then get the door.
Yeah. So the second ending, though, right when you're about to press the button, the little dark one appears next to you and like, there's no need for this, Artyom. I'm helping you.
Oh, yeah.
And then his entire family just appears and mind kills every evil person. Like, all of the bad people. They're just like, and General Corbett, there's just this great scene of him just going like, ah! And this dark one reaching for his face. And it's just like, it just shows like a half second of a dark one's hand wrapped around his face. It is the best thing ever, and all of the dark ones live, and all of the good people live. And then the ending, like, little cutscene is the little one talking to you, and he's like, we'll come back sometime and we should talk,
Yeah, like, oh, we should come back, be bros, chill a little bit.
Yeah, and so great ending.
It really was. Such a good game. Recommended to every single person ever born.
Plus.
Oh, yeah. DLCs are still just as amazing as the game.
Yes. It was really great. It had a lot of horror, had a lot of survival, had a lot of good shooting things.
Plus, just the action, like when you're fighting humans, was really good too. Like, kick Call of Duty's ass.
Yeah. And the story of redemption told throughout that.
The second game?
The both games. More so the second one is just one of the best sort of like. There are some moments where, regardless of how you feel about the dark ones, you just feel like an ass, and like you're like, I'm so sorry.
Plus, you can relate to even Artyom, even though he doesn't speak his language, his body language.
Yeah,
good game. All right, well, I guess that's
and that about wraps it up. So, end of
like and subscribe.
Yes, stuff.
Yeah.